welcome to this week's Kids Church at Home. This week we are exploring abundance, overflowing, and let's see what we can discover about God being abundant and overflowing. Our special shout out this week goes to Michael and Nate and Sam. I hope your year has started well. So, abundance, what does that mean? That means so much that we don't even know what to do with it all. And there's a story about abundance. In fact, it's one of the first stories we hear about Jesus' life in ministry. Let's share that story. This is a special story that we are pulling out of one of our story boxes. And it's the story of one of Jesus' first public miracles. That's when Jesus was able to make the unexpected happen through God's Holy Spirit. Let's explore this story. It's found in John 2, verses 1 to 12. And it goes something like this. A long time ago, in a place called Cana, there was a wedding. Two people who were in love were coming before God and their community to get married. I wonder what their names were. Maybe you can make up some names for this couple. Have you ever been to a wedding? They're pretty special, and sometimes they can be very fancy. Back in Jesus' day, they would bring lots and lots of people together. And those people would come and they would celebrate, sometimes for many, many days. And just like today, there was lots of food to celebrate. There was lots of drink. It was a very special occasion. So many people. So many people to feed. Well, Jesus was at this wedding, along with his mom and maybe some friends, maybe people who might become his disciples down the road. But in this wedding celebration, something went very wrong. The family ran out of wine. They had nothing but the cleaning up water, and people were very thirsty. What were they going to do? Well, Jesus' mom suggested maybe Jesus could do something to help the host to continue to be welcoming for all their guests and to meet the needs of their guests. Jesus didn't want to at first. I wonder, maybe he hesitated because he wondered if this was how to use his special gifts. But even though he hesitated, he listened to his mom. And so his mother turned to the servants and she said, "Do whatever Jesus says." So Jesus said, "Take that water for washing up and pour it into your wine vessels." And that's what they did. When the servants then served the guests, they were amazed. Somehow, the best wine had been saved for last. Everyone at the party had more than enough, and they were no longer thirsty, and they could go home satisfied. I wonder, what is your favorite part of that story? What stands out for you? Is it the party? Is it the guests? Is it the celebration or the miracle? I wonder what happened to the wedding couple after their wedding. I wonder what people said about those celebrations. I'm also curious about Jesus hesitating to use his gifts in this way. And what changed his mind? We all have gifts to share, big and small. They're all unique to us. They're all special. And they make us all capable of changing the world in some way, even if it is making people feel welcome at a party. I like to think that this first miracle Jesus performed taught him that not every miracle has to be big and enormous and save the world. Some miracles are about making people feel welcome, about creating abundance in a different way, and then allowing others, through their joy and their experience of hope, to be able to share their gifts beyond that. It's like creating a small ripple that then makes bigger ripples. I like to imagine that Jesus in this experience may have learned that instead of saving your gift for when you think it might be important to share, find ways of sharing those gifts no matter what, and just see what happens when they're shared. So what gifts are you holding on to that you could share anytime? So my friends, for this new year, I thought we would try and add something new to our kids' church time together, and that's a mindful moment. A mindful moment is anything that helps us to stop and remember the story and just be present. That can be a prayer, that can be some movement, that can be a song. And so this week, our mindful moment is a familiar song, one that we've sung before, and maybe you will be able to help me out with it. This is called Fill My Cup, and it reminds me of the story because it's talking about filling our own cups inside of us until it's overflowing with love. And I like to think of the story of the wedding and how those cups suddenly just overflowed, and the celebration was able to continue, and the joy and the hope just overflowed as the wedding celebration continued, thanks to the overflowing cups. So why don't you come and sing with me? We'll repeat it 3 times, and I hope that you can join in when you get the words. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Let it overflow with love. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Let it overflow with love. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Fill my cup up, let it overflow. Let it overflow with love. So for our craft today, I wanted to create something that would be abundant, something that would maybe start small and then grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So I have a special paper craft that we're going to do today to create a jar that looks as though it's small, but is actually overflowing. So come and join me while we make this overflowing, abundant jar together. The supplies for our craft today are really easy. All we need is some paper, a pencil, some scissors, and some markers. The first step is that we want to cut our regular size paper in half lengthwise. So I did this by folding it in half the long way and then cutting it in 2, and that will give me 2 long pieces of paper. The next thing we want to do is fold this into an accordion. That can be kind of tricky to get all the spaces equal, so let me show you how I did this. I'm going to start by folding it in half the long way. And then I'm going to fold it halfway up like this, and halfway like that. Oops. And halfway like that. And now I'm going to unfold the whole thing. So I have 6 equal parts. Now I want to turn it into an accordion. An accordion goes back and forth and back and forth. So after it's been unfolded, I'm going to refold it the way I really want it. I'm going to fold one edge, and then along that other fold, I'm going to fold it the opposite way. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to fold opposite along the other fold again. And then I'm going to turn it over and fold it along that fold. And now turn it one last time, and using that last fold as a guide, I'm going to fold it up. So now all my folds should be going back and forth all the way across, like an accordion. Here we go. The next thing that I want to do on my accordion now is I want to draw a jar. That sounds complicated, but it's actually much easier than it sounds. This is going to be the top of my jar. And so I'm going to put a triangle on this side and a triangle on this side. So this is a jar that looks like one of those clay jars that might have existed at the time of Jesus. So there's the top lip of the jar, and then it comes in and then it goes back out again. I want to make sure I'm not going to cut along these folded edges later. The last part of our jar is that it kind of comes to a point at the bottom. So I'm going to put another line here, another line that will create a triangle corner. So 2 lines. I've got lots of space here where I'm keeping my folds, and now you can begin to see the shape of the jar, right? It looks like a clay pot, nice and tall. So now that I've got that sketch, I'm going to cut it out. Remembering to be careful to leave folds along the edge. I'm going to cut the bottom corners off first. And now I'm going to cut these little triangles here. Now, if you want to get fancy with your jar, you can always curve some of those corners by just making them a little bit softer, making it a little bit rounder so it's not quite as triangle shaped. But it works just as well. Maybe you want to trim the top a little bit. There we go. You can play around with your jar shape, and maybe you have a different jar shape that you come up with. Whatever the shape is that you choose, always remember you need to have folds left on both sides so that the jars will stay together when we unfold them. So let's see how this works. There's my one jar, but if I unfold the accordion, I have 6 jars now. There's 1 jar, and now there's 6 jars. So this is my jar of abundance, and now I want to decorate it. I'm going to start by writing "Fill my cup" on the very front of my jar of abundance. Now inside my jar of abundance, I want to put other things that help to fill me up and bring me joy. Maybe friends or sunshine, maybe laughter, maybe love. I wonder what are some of the things that fill your bucket? What brings you joy? Let's write those things on the inside of our jar of abundance, and then maybe add some color and decorate it. Ready? Go ahead and fill your jar of abundance with all kinds of ideas of what fills you up and brings you joy and hope, much like what happened at the story of the wedding. Well, my friends, Here is my final jar of abundance, all finished. Fill my cup, and when we open it up, there's lots inside. I have love and laughter and music and sunshine and friends, all things that bring me joy and abundance, and all things that help to bring me closer to feeling God in my life. I wonder, what are the things that you put in your jar? And where do you find those things? How do you create them for other people? Our magical little jar of abundance. It might seem small at first, but we know inside there is so much to give and so much that we receive. Well, my friends, I hope that you enjoy filling your jar of abundance and that it helps make you think of the things in life that fill that bucket. The things around you, the people around you, the experiences that you have that fill your bucket and that allow you to share with others and bring gifts to others. As you go into the week ahead, my friends, may your bucket be filled with this blessing as well. May there be love in your heart to give. May there be joy in your heart to share. And may there be courage in your heart to lift others up. See ya.